Steve Sarkisian. Oh, will everyone give him a round of applause, please? Do that for the turnaround of Texas football. This is Sports Guy talking that you guys are watching and listening to. I am Dustin Tran, your host, as I am here today to talk about Steve Sarkisian changing the culture for Texas football as they are in the college football playoff for the first time ever in program history. Steve Sarkisian was able to lead Texas to a Big 12 championship as they had not won that title since 2009. Not only that, but Steve Sarkisian was able to bring in a difference maker at the quarterback position in Quinn Ewers as he played a tremendous role in the resurgence of Texas football. Before I say anything else though, I want to present you guys with a topic question. So here it is. Will Texas finally return to the national championship this season? I believe it. It's time to believe in Texas if you guys haven't done so yet. I know I believed in them. I said Texas would win the Big 12 before the season started. I said Texas would make the college football playoff before the season started. And guess what happened? Both of those scenarios happened. You look at how Texas has been able to do it. Steve Sarkisian has been an incredible coach for Texas. You look at the state of the program that Texas was in the 2021 season where Steve Sarkisian initially took over Texas. It was not a pretty sight to see. Texas football was essentially dead. And for Steve Sarkisian to turn around Texas within 3 years, congrats to Steve Sarkisian because what he did was incredible. You look at how he was very aggressive in the transfer portal. You look at how he was very aggressive recruiting-wise. You look at how Steve Sarkisian was not willing to settle for mediocrity. Steve Sarkisian was fighting for greatness. And that's what Texas was missing for so long. They had so many mediocre coaches since 2009 where they settled for mediocrity. But Steve Sarkisian was built different. Steve Sarkisian was like, okay, we're going to have to get a running game going. We're going to have to get that quarterback. We're going to have to be able to build an aggressive defense where we can pressure the passer. We're going to have to be able to get a defense where we can create turnovers. And we're going to build that offensive lineup pretty strongly. And guess what happened? Texas was able to do all that within 3 years. A recruiting cycle takes about 3 years in order for the head coach to fully envision his team. And Steve Sarkisian was able to do that. You look at how he was able to find a quarterback in the transfer portal in Quinn Ewers. Ohio State basically discarded Quinn Ewers because their excuse was they already had CJ Stroud and Kyle McCord in the quarterback room, so no reps were going to be given to Quinn Ewers. But guess what happened? I bet you Ohio State wish they had Quinn Ewers at quarterback right now because Kyle McCord was essentially run out of Ohio State because a lot of fans have essentially been criticizing Kyle McCord for not getting the job done for Ohio State, and their head coach doesn't like Kyle McCord anymore. And you look at how Texas was able to steal a quarterback in Quinn Ewers and how Quinn Ewers has essentially been a superstar in the making. You look at how Quinn Ewers is so tough in the pocket and how he can fling that deep ball. He is one of my favorite quarterbacks to watch in all of college football because of the fact that he is a mentally tough quarterback. Not only is he a mentally tough quarterback, he is a physically tough quarterback and he has the arm strength to complete a lot of passes down the field. Quinn Ewers does not play scary at the quarterback position. What does Steve Sarkisian look for in a quarterback? Fearlessness. And Quinn Ewers has no fear in his game whatsoever. He plays to win the game. Those are the kind of quarterbacks that I like. I don't like quarterbacks that play not to lose. I like quarterbacks that play to win the game, and Quinn Ewers is the definition of playing like a winner at the quarterback position. You also look at the running game. Yes, they lost Jonathan Brooks for the season with a knee injury, but it doesn't matter because they were able to find CJ Baxter, who could run the football pretty effectively. They were able to find Jane Blue. He's a guy that can also run the football pretty effectively. So you look at how Texas, they're able to still remain functional running the football even without their superstar running back in Jonathan Brooks. You also look at the receiving game that they have. They got Xavier Worthy. He's a tremendously underrated receiver. He is a guy that has big playability down the field. He almost had 1,000 yards in the year. The only reason he didn't have 1,000 yards yet is because Texas is usually up by so many points in the fourth quarter. They don't have to throw the football whatsoever. You look at how they also have that Mitchell guy as their wide receiver too. He has big playability as well. He caught 10 touchdowns on the year. He has been a tremendous weapon for Texas. You also look at Jordan Whittington, a solid slot receiver that they had. But then you look at the fact that they also got a pretty good tight end in Sanders. Sanders has been able to prove to others that he is a mismatch in the passing game. And when you got a tight end that can prove to be a mismatch in the passing game, that's going to bode trouble for defenses, particularly in college football, because of the fact that there aren't necessarily a lot of great pass-catching tight ends in college football. So whenever there actually is a good pass-catching tight end, that's going to bode problems for opposing defenses. And for Texas to be able to take advantage of that unique skill set, very impressive by them. Texas has no weaknesses on offense. They can run the football, they can throw it, they can block their quarterback really well. And even when Quinn Ewers gets hurt, that's not a problem because Texas has been able to get production out of their back quarterback and Malik Murphy. And even if something were to happen to Malik Murphy, they'll still be fine because they got Arch Manning, who's one of the best high school recruits that anybody has ever seen. And the fact that he is their third string quarterback should tell you how stacked the quarterback room has been at Texas. I remember when I was a kid growing up, they were yearning for guys like Colt McCoy playing at quarterback because of the fact that Colt McCoy was a beast at Texas. But that was back when I was way too little to even be really talking football on this channel, or the days where they had Garrett Gilbert at the quarterback position, or the days where they had Sam Ehlinger playing quarterback. That was back when I was in high school. The point of the story is Texas hasn't had that superstar quarterback in forever. They've had solid quarterback play, but they haven't had great quarterback play, and they've been able to find that with Quinn Ewers. And even if Quinn Ewers were to leave Texas this upcoming offseason, which I don't think is going to happen, but let's just say if he leaves, they'll still be fine because they got Arch Manning, who's more than ready to step into the role as a starting quarterback, because Arch Manning is a highly capable quarterback in all of college football. He is probably going to be a star quarterback in the NFL. My point is, you look at Texas roster and you're thinking, wow, they are really stacked offensively. They can run it, they can throw it, they can block it, and defensively they can get after the passer. I know their secondary is kind of questionable, but their secondary is capable of forcing turnovers, and against Washington's team, that's what they're going to need to do in order to beat that team, because you look at what Washington has. They got Michael Penix Jr., who's had a really good year. They've got Dylan Johnson, who's a tough runner. He's been extremely underrated. They might not have Tybo Rogers playing for them because he's currently injured. He's got an undisclosed injury. He's going to be questionable for the game, so we'll see what happens with that. And they got Will Nixon. He can also run it as well. You look at their passing game, they got Rome Odunze, they got that Polk guy, they got Jeremy Bernard, and they got Jalen McMillan. So they're 4 deep at wide receiver. And you look at their tight end game, they're really good in there as well. They got Jack Westover. He's an underrated tight end. So obviously you look at these teams and you're thinking they have a lot of talent on both sides of the ball, both on offense and on defense. But I think ultimately the difference in this game is going to come down to quarterback play. Who's going to be better, Quinn Ewers or Michael Penix Jr.? Because I believe this game is going to be a shootout. Both offenses are really good. Both defenses are pretty good as well, although they are suspect at getting into shootouts and getting towards the big play abilities by opposing quarterbacks. So I think Quinn Ewers and Michael Penix Jr. are going to be in for some great football games. But ultimately, I trust Quinn Ewers more than I trust Michael Penix Jr. And this is not a knock on Michael Penix Jr., but Michael Penix Jr. does not have a great arm. And when I compare arm strength to arm strength with both of these quarterbacks, I think Quinn Ewers has the better arm when you compare him to Michael Penix Jr. And not only that, Quinn Ewers was actually going up against Big 12 defenses. I understand that Big 12 defenses are considered to be a joke, but you know what else is also considered to be a joke? Pac-12 defense. And Michael Penix Jr. has been going up against Pac-12 defenses all year long. So I expect Michael Penix to be just a little worse than Quinn Ewers, not because I think Michael Penix is trash, but because of the fact that I think Quinn Ewers is a superstar in the making. I expect Quinn Ewers to have a fantastic game. I'm thinking he's going to throw for 4 touchdowns. I think Steve Sarkisian is going to coach a great game. He's changed the culture at Texas tremendously. The standard is now the standard at Texas because of Steve Sarkisian. Steve Sarkisian does not accept mediocrity, and he got that from Nick Saban because he used to work under Nick Saban. Steve Sarkisian only settles for greatness, and I don't think Washington quite has that intensity when you compare them to Texas. I think the intensity for Washington is good, but it's not on the level of Texas. I think Texas has a little bit more intensity than Washington, and when you talk about their effort, attitude, and toughness, I think Texas has more of that than Washington, and in these games, that's what matters the most. And I think that ultimately, Texas is going to barely come out on top. I think it's going to be a shootout. I think both teams are going to score a lot of points, but ultimately, I see Texas scoring 45 points. Washington's going to only score 41, so I see the score being 45-41 Texas. I think Steve Sarkisian is going to outcoach Washington's head coach. I think Quinn Ewers is going to be able to make big plays in the passing game. I expect him to throw for a lot of touchdowns. I'm thinking he's going to go out there and throw 4 touchdowns and be a gamer whenever it matters most. I think Texas is more than capable of going back to the national championship game for the first time since 2009. I see that drought ending. I see that culture being changed at Texas. I don't see their jobs being done quite yet. I think Texas is going to continue playing great football, and I think that Washington, they're going to play a good game, but I think they're just going to run to a great team in Texas. So that is why Texas will definitely return to the national championship game this season, as Texas will beat Washington by the score of 45-41. Remember, go ahead and subscribe to Sports Guy Talking, like the video, and please comment down below. If you guys do that, I may shout you guys out in my Instagram story every Monday. That'll be for the @Dustin Instagram account. Make sure to follow me on Instagram @Dustin Tran and that Sports Guy Talking. Also, go follow me on Twitter @Dustin Tran. Again, go ahead and do those things that I just told you guys to go do. Hopefully, you guys enjoyed the content that was just produced. Peace out. I hope you enjoyed that video. Want more Sports Guy Talking, the home of great sports content? Make sure you click that subscribe button to get the latest from Sports Guy Talking. Go ahead and like the video, comment down below, check the description box on the video in order to follow my Instagram and Twitter. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from the YouTube channel, Sports Guy Talking.